Hello there, sixth graders. Today we're going to explore more about density. So I found this cool little website called PhET. It's something I've used for other classes, but one thing great about it is it allows us to adjust variables and do little scientific experiments. It's a model to show us how, just to help us learn density. So here we go. Once you get here, you're going to press the little play button. And it pops you to this website. So up here, I want you to explore a couple things. One, in this little table, you can adjust a couple things. You can manipulate your own block. You can use the material that they have. For example, styrofoam, all the way down to aluminum. And then also you can change the mass of the object. You can change the mass. Notice how the mass changes up here. And you can also change the volume. You make it smaller or bigger. Okay. So mass, volume, and over here is density. So this is the density of the wood that we're using. I want you to ask yourself, and you should be able to explain this to someone else, and we'll talk about it in class. Even though I'm changing the mass, look at the mass and the volume. Why isn't the density changing? Why does the density remain constant even though it's getting a lot larger or it's getting smaller? And you can test this with all the substances. So think about that question. Big question. Why does the mass, if I change the mass or the volume, why does the density stay? Or can you change the mass without changing the volume? Why or why not? You could test that with all the substances. Over here is kind of cool, and I want you to experiment as well. You can adjust it so you have 4 different blocks, all the same mass. Look at the same mass. You can have 4 different blocks with all the same volume, but notice that the mass is different. They're all the same size. And then also you can actually have, this is something where all the blocks have the same density. Now what will happen to all of them if you throw them into the water? Notice that they have different masses and different volumes, but their density should be the same. So play around with this to help you kind of really understand how density works. Finally, this is something I want us to do. I want you to figure out displacement. So I want to take this block out. Just take this block out. Notice that, first of all, I want you to notice the units. We're working in kilograms per liter. Liters volume, kilograms is the mass. Now we've been working with grams per milliliter or centimeter cubed, but I want you to know that a kilogram is 1,000 times larger than a gram, and a liter is 1,000 times larger than a milliliter. So the density, the number should be the same, but the units are slightly different. But it's still a unit of density. It's still mass over volume. It's just 1,000 times larger than what we've been working with. This volume, notice it's 5.67 up here. Now we can use displacement. So if you just throw it in, first of all, bloop. Notice that the starting volume is 100 liters. And then you plop in your wood, bloop, and it goes to 2.27. Wait a minute. I thought the volume was 5.67. You have to drag it and totally push it underwater. 5.67. Look, notice that the volume over here is the same as the volume up here. So in order to find the volume, you need to totally submerge it underwater. That leads us to the final task, and this is what I want you to do today. I want you to play around with these blocks by throwing them on the scale, getting the mass, and then plopping them in the water. Whoa! Determining its volume. Okay. And then using the tape, once you figure out the density, again, mass, volume, you can actually go over here, and I want you to tell me, what is A, B, C, D, or E? And you're going to be filling out the table on the worksheet I gave you to help determine density. I also have you play around with some of the other things, and I want you to come up with your own little observations or patterns that you've noticed while playing around on this website. So again, part of it is determine the mystery, but also part of it is to allow you to explore how changing the shapes, how changing the mass, and also how these all work in relatively to water. Just a reminder, the density of water is 1. Things that have a greater density than 1 will what? What will they do? Things that have a less density than water will do what? So keep that in mind. That's it. Have fun, and I'll see you in class. Bye. And stop.